What's up, guys? We have the third and final installment for the MCU this year to come out. Thor, Ragnarok. Been looking forward to this one. And I gotta say, from my end, it did not disappoint. What did you think of this movie, Evan?
It was really good. It was definitely a fun movie. More than anything else. I'll have to give it that.
Yeah. This movie, directed by Taika Waititi, he just did a fantastic job at, bringing in some much-needed humor to the Thor movies, because I liked the first Thor movie. The second Thor movie I thought was... They tried to go with a lot of humor, and none of the humor really hit for me. This one was a perfect blend of, that great action and great humor as well.
I never saw the other Thor movies, so Thor Ragnarok's really the only one that I have to go from, other than what I've seen in the Avengers, right? Mm-hmm. Seeing how Thor interacts with everybody. And, this is definitely a left field, at least with... everything I've seen prior with this character. So it was interesting, to say the least, the way direction they took with, I guess, as everyone knows, it's very funny. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I love funny movies like that. I mean, look at Deadpool and, when they kind of break that fourth wall and kind of, poke fun at really what they are. And this being, I think, the 17th Marvel movie or something like that?
Something like that, yeah. I think the Infinity War... will be the 20th.
You can imagine that they've, hit a lot of tones throughout the films, and, they have tried a lot of different things, and, Thor being kind of at a loss for development, as you've mentioned in the past. They, didn't really know what to do with that character. So going this route with Ragnarok, whether it was the easy way out with this character or... just trying to be different and adaptive, I could appreciate that, because I did have a lot of fun with it. And seeing actors really just be themselves, I don't know, it's interesting, where that they're not quite diving deep into the characters in that sense, where they have to keep true to this persona. Really, the only person who did that for me was Cate Blanchett. And Idris Elba, yeah. Idris Elba. Those are really the only two characters that had a significant role that really was actually playing a character to me. Everyone else is like, Tom Hiddleston and Chris were just like, hey Tom, what's up? Making another Thor movie, man. How's it going?
Yeah, jumping off that, going into my positives of the movie, definitely, I think... One thing that, like you said, the development of Thor in these movies hasn't always been really smooth. He's always been kind of a little more serious. And Chris Hemsworth as an actor, in all these serious roles, I never quite buy him. And he's always, just seems a little bit off. But whenever I saw him in, comedic roles, outside of the Thor franchise, I'm like, he's got natural timing. And I think that really comes through in this movie, is just how good of a comedic timing he has with everything. They just kind of let him... go loose and have fun with everything, and it really results in some, gut belly laughs, that...
It's extremely funny.
Yeah, throughout the film. I will say Cate Blanchett as the villain Hela was one of the better Marvel villains for me. Just her presence alone in this movie was pretty terrifying, and I really enjoyed that as well. And then kind of getting to where you're, the negatives of the movie, I feel like this movie... even though it does a really good job of it, it jumbles all these storylines. It makes a very cohesive movie, and it handles it better, a lot better than I thought they would. But I feel like there was just one or two too many that, some of these stories you could flesh out into their own movies. Kymel, Idris Elba, what's that character going through in this movie, Hela, I would love to see her origin story movie. We get some flashbacks. I'm like, this looks awesome, and then the whole Planet Hulk thing, which, I don't want to say was shoehorned in there. That was very natural. It didn't serve sometimes the overall story, but that's just kind of me nitpicking some overall storylines that I felt like, they didn't need to be in there.
Yeah, there's a lot. A lot of exposition, at least with Hela's character, where there is a ton of rich lore that they have to explain, to us, because not knowing anything, especially people that haven't seen previous films or follow the comics or anything like that, which is the boat I'm coming from. You need to explain a lot to get people to care, which dives into the rest of this film's flaws, I guess you want to call it that. If you want to say, this is a fun film. There's a lot of funny jokes. The CGI is great. The colors, the presentation, it's gorgeous. It's beautiful. And in that sense, it's very, very well done. The problem I have with it is there's no depth. You have Hela, who has to explain her entire character, timeline, ultimately to the end of this movie. It's like you you have to just kind of accept what she's saying based on, let me just rattle everything that I guess was established in the past movies, and let me just wipe all that clean and give you this new story that we have to all of a sudden care about. And really the whole execution of the storyline, where everything that Hela was based on all of a sudden just, I don't know, it didn't matter. It fell flat for me. The end came, and we're supposed to, I guess, feel for what the cost was to finish this film and to, I guess, defeat everything. And it was just like, I don't care. I don't know. It just I didn't feel anything. I didn't feel anything for it. And I felt like that was a big enough flaw to recognize, where, you can't just go slapstick the whole time. Even with Deadpool, I felt some moments,
There's a lot of great depth in Deadpool.
And I think a lot of that is Ryan Reynolds. I think a lot of that is execution with the characters, like with Chris Pratt. I know you weren't a fan of Volume 2 with Guardians of the Galaxy. I loved it. I loved, there is that element of just torment with Chris Pratt. We get maybe 45 seconds of that with Chris Hemsworth in this film. And I wish there was more of that. I wish there was more just, I guess, weight to what occurred in this film, because really a lot did, like you said, and a lot that should be taken with more weight. But we're so soaked in improv and comedy, and don't get me wrong, I love that stuff, but it was just too much. It was too much, and I couldn't walk away with like, wow, that was a great movie. I walked away with, that was hilarious.
I think a lot of the weight that you wanted in this movie came in like the earlier movies, but at the same time, every film needs to be a complete film as a whole,
Right.
But like me having seen the other two Thor films, that kind of carried over to where like some of those moments you're talking about where you weren't satisfied, I was, more satisfied at that point. But I totally get where you're coming from. Like coming in, I could see that as like a casual viewer of these movies saying, okay, why? But yeah, the ending for me, like I was able to see this film twice before we reviewed it. And the ending the second time, I'm like, this is a bit rushed. Because this is the last movie coming out other than Black Panther leading us up into Infinity War. And this has to do with like the outer space stuff. So I thought we were going to get a more clean bridgeway into that, and it wasn't really that. It was just like, all right, we need to get to here. And I was like, oh, okay. Marvel has started to let directors do their own thing, this is clearly an example of a director that was given more free reign than people have been in the past with the MCU movies. Taika Waititi, this was a Taika Waititi movie through and through. So, but overall, I mean, what would you rate this movie?
Thor, I'd have to give Thor, I'd say a 7.5.
Okay.
Like I said, it was just little things. I was thoroughly entertained. For me, it just faltered at the end, which I'm going to say probably the last 10 minutes. Up to that, it's great. The jokes are hilarious when he's racking on Loki and, it's having Tom Hiddleston back. That was great. He did a great job. Just everyone in it. There were some fresh characters here. The world that they're on was fun. Totally random, but fun. And
we forgot to mention Goldblum.
Well, yeah, Goldblum too.
Goldblum.
He's Jeff Goldblum, really. Yeah. You kind of know what you're gonna get, and that's what he gave, and it was great. It was a lot of fun. So that's why the high score is 7.5, but not quite the 8 range, because there was that, that it didn't have. And I know you all know what I'm talking about. That like, oh, that was a great movie. So 7.5 for me.
I think I'll probably differ with you quite a bit on this one. I felt like the other films kind of carried over. The emphasis that I needed was there. And I liked where they took Thor in relation to the other movies. And it's not quite the best comic book movie of the year so far, but I think it's quite up there. So I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. For me, this movie did a lot of the things that I just wanted to see in a Thor movie, and just bringing in all that crazy Jack Kirby 60s style comic book like color and style just into that movie. I just love seeing that. So yeah, 9 for me. All right, guys, did you guys go see Thor Ragnarok? What'd you guys think of it? Comment below with your guys' thoughts. As always, make sure to subscribe to Rogue Reviews for more awesome content, guys. We'll see you guys next time.
See ya.